Hello, sisters and brothers. Our devotional for today, for May 9, is a reflection on My Utmost for His Highest. These are a series of devotionals written and compiled by Oswald Chambers. You can always find the link to the daily devotional at utmost.org. And for today's devotions, it is looking at principles or vision. And he uses a single verse out of Proverbs for the key text. So I will read Proverbs 29, verse 18. Where there is no revelation, people cast off restraint. But blessed is the one who heeds wisdom's instruction. And Chambers titles the devotional Reaching Beyond Our Grasp. Where there is no revelation or prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. There is a difference between holding on to a principle and having a vision. A principle does not come from moral inspiration, but a vision does. People who are totally consumed with idealistic principles rarely do anything. A person's own idea of God and his attributes may actually be used to justify and rationalize his deliberate neglect of his duty. Jonah tried to excuse his disobedience by saying to God, "I know that you are a gracious and merciful God, slow to anger and abundant in loving kindness, one who relents from doing harm." Jonah 4, verse 2. I too may have the right idea of God and his attributes, but that may be the very reason why I do not do my duty. But wherever there is vision, there is also a life of honesty and integrity, because the vision gives me the moral incentive. Our own idealistic principles may actually lull us into our ruin. Examine yourself spiritually to see if you have vision or only principles. But a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? Where there is no revelation or prophetic vision. Once we lose sight of God, we begin to be reckless. We cast off certain restraints from activities we know are wrong. We set prayer aside as well and cease having God's vision in the little things of life. We simply begin to act on our own initiative. If we are eating only out of our own hand and doing things solely on our own initiative, without expecting God to come in, we are on a downward path. We have lost the vision. Is our attitude today an attitude that flows from our vision of God? Are we expecting God to do greater things than he has ever done before? Is there a freshness and a vitality in our spiritual outlook? This devotional today admittedly hits me square between the eyes, and one of the things that's been said of me is to comment on my principles. And as I'm reading through this devotion and I'm reflecting on how many times have I operated on my own principles and how many times have I acted out of vision, he uses the verse out of Jonah to remind us that Jonah was basically saying, God, I know what you're up to. I know what you're going to do. What do you need me for? I know who you are. But that's the beauty of this life that we live, is that we are invited to be part of what happens. And the reason it hits me between the eyes today is especially in light of world events and reflecting on some of the injustices and the inequalities in our world. I often wonder, what else can I do and what should I do? And I often feel like I want to do more or that I'm not doing enough. But what I think I need to be careful of is to make sure that I continue to operate in God's vision, that I need to make sure that what I believe to be true of God is what flows through my life. And for now, sometimes that means just using my voice and speaking out and saying the things that I know to be true. But that may lead to other calls to action. And if I am following God's vision, I will be prepared to continue to take those steps. If I'm only operating on principle, then I would have no reason to move forward. So think about that today. Are you operating out of principle or God's vision? And what is God's vision, not only for his kingdom, but for your community, for your family, for your church, for your place of work? And how do you fit into that? Spend time in prayer, spend time in scripture, Allow that to be revealed to you. Thank you as always for listening. Be safe and stay well.